do you remember any guys that you wanted in the draft that we may not have got that went on to be great players?
Oh, sure. I mean, but you're always the thing about the draft, particularly
Or you thought you were going to get?
like I'll tell you one that I remember just studying, and I say this would be the guy for us. He'd really be a good player. I always kind of like to just hear are there names that are around. I mean, if everybody's name is around, that tells me everybody's really looking at him. But if I'm not really hearing the name around, maybe we have a chance. And there was one guy I felt totally confident this would be the guy for us. I think we got a chance to get him at the end of the draft, and we took him, and that was Logan Mankins. Now, and then I came here afterwards that a couple of the teams right behind us at the top of the second round, they were ready to call him, and you're our guy. But I just said, this is would be a perfect player for us. And of course, Logan goes on to be one of the best. I mean, if I'm putting my all-time Patriots team together, the guards are going to be Logan Mankins and John Hanna.
Yeah.
Two greats right there. But sure, there are some players. You're down at the end of the draft. This guy's going to be in the top 5, and so why don't you trade up and get him? We don't. We'd have to trade our whole team.
What about a guy that like you thought that was going to be there that someone snagged?
Oh,
there's got to be the one that got away.
Sometimes
the one that got away
because everybody in the league is looking at the big. Oh, it's that 800-pound tuna I've been fighting for 11 hours, and all I got's
a bucket. Well, your buddy put a bucket on the end of the hook. That happened to me once.
Yeah. But it's, there are 32 teams all looking at the same players. So you just figure, like if you drop back in the draft, you can't say, hey, we'd like this guy here. Let's see if we can drop back 5 places and still get him. There's everybody else is looking at the same group of players you are. So you just never. I'll tell you, because I know you had him on as a guest. For instance, one that we didn't want to get away was your friend Matt Light. and of course, it's the year he came out, I don't know what number, it was in the middle of the second round. We're picking the team ahead of us is the Jets, and then ahead of them is the Lions. Okay? So you always call like 10 minutes before. If there's a player, he's on your radar, you want to make sure, first of all, they're still alive. I mean, the Patriots, they did draft a player in the early 60s who was not alive from Southwest Louisiana. They had the name, they did names in newspapers, and they don't have not everybody had a cell phone. So are you still okay? How you doing? So we're behind the Jets who are behind the Lions. We call Matt Light. Hey, Matt, we're really interested. How you doing? Hey, coach, the Jets just called me. They're gonna take me. So we knew right there. It's very cut and dried. We're either going to get a trade executed with the Lions so we can get Matt, or we're just going to sit there and watch the Jets take him. So we call the Lions. We're really trying to work out a trade with them. The guy they want is the center from Nebraska, Dominic Raiola. They said, look, we got Damian Woody. Don't worry. We're not going to draft a center. Okay, that's not going to happen. So we get the trade executed with the Lions when there's, when they're on the clock, we jump up and we take Matt Light. So, I mean.
Now, did you guys have intel that the Jets were going to take? So
the Jets had called Matt.
Before that.
It's all.
You guys are sniffing out there, though.
Well, but it's like, they may have called like 3 minutes before us. Because it's. I mean, everybody does this. You can't keep in touch with people. So, we got the solid intel that if we want Matt, we got to get in front of the Jets. And to get in front of the Jets, the only way that can happen is if we do a trade with the Lions. There's no other way we can get in front of the Jets. So.
Is there any guys that you evaluated that probably wouldn't have been that great that turned out to like, oh shit, this guy is a monster that you missed on the other way?
Sure. I mean, you're dealing with human beings. First of all, how are they going to react to coming into the NFL? And particularly when you're talking about the first round, does this guy have the right mindset that we can entrust him with a big contract? Because it's not, if we draft a guy in the 7th round, it's going to be the rookie minimum.
What are you talking about, Ernie? I got a $36,000 signing bonus.
That was kind of high, don't you? I mean, but
I'm fucking around.
But if it's really important if you're going to take a guy at the top of the first round and make a big investment in him, the guy can't.
He can handle it.
He can handle it, and that doesn't always happen. But some guys, like for instance, you think you know a player, you try hard, you do the psychological evaluations, you interview him, but when you've had him in camp for about 10 days, that's when you know, right? I mean, some guys, hey, this guy's got the right makeup, the right stuff. He's actually got a chance. This other guy, this is not really going the way we want. He's not really our kind of guy. And you don't get to have him in your training camp for 10 days before you draft him.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you'd be, as a veteran, Julian, I'm sure you'd be watching pretty carefully to see if they've actually, is this guy going to be one of our kind of guy, or did they screw it up in the draft?
I was convinced for a while, and I almost mustered up enough courage to go into Bill's office and tell him, if you're going to take someone in the 1st round or the 2nd round that's going to be a skill position player, I need you to send me out there to look him right in his fucking eyes.
A lot to be said for that. I mean,
I didn't muster up enough courage.
No, but there's at every school, there'll be somebody there who knows. Maybe it's the equipment guy, who if you happen to know the equipment guy, he'll tell you, hey, this guy's been in my locker room for 4 years. He's an asshole. You don't want him. Well, if that's an equipment, he may actually know, what kind of guy you're looking for. So if you know that the equipment guy, what his brand of cigars is, you may take him a box of cigars, and on the QT, hey, just tell me who are the guys we don't want. And if it's the right person telling you, that information can be gold. Now, what's happened, of course, is now with all the stuff with social media and people are barred from talking to NFL people. It's harder to get the information that you really need. But you still try to figure out a way to go get it.
Turkey always talks, Ernie.
Yeah.
Turkey always talks. Who was the equipment manager for Florida back in the 2010s?
Oh God.
Can we find out what his cigars preference is? We probably had a lot of those going. Now, how did it go with internal evaluation of our own team?
So we did. I mean, what Bill always said to the staff was, the players that we have here now, we have to know them better than anybody else. We can't make a mistake on one of our guys. We just went through a 6-month season. We live together, right? I mean, hey, players go home, go to sleep after practice. Coaches go home, go to sleep. But for most of the day, we're with each other in a small space. We know what makes each other tick. We really have to know our own players better than anybody else. So we spent a lot of time after the season, take each player one at a time. We went through everything. Their medical, their strength and conditioning. How are these guys?
Their reps, their MEs.
Is somebody, getting into their early 30s, and we can just see they're starting to slip. May still be able to play for a while, but they're starting to go on. You have to really know that about your own players, and those can be the hardest decisions to make. This guy's gotten a slip, but he's a fantastic human being in our locker room. he's the guy everybody else looks up to. You know, who's going to really suck it up and push himself hard. You know, I always said the older you get, the harder you have to work at your conditioning. Always. And, you know, so it's, is this the guy who's really going to push himself, you know, to be able to play when, you know, when he's in his early 30s?